From Caracas, Venezuela, my name is Reagan Nevins. This is teleSUR English's daily news brief from the south. We begin with footage from Mexico City, where authorities report the deaths of at least 21 children and 4 adults buried at school, the Enrique Men's School in Mexico City, after this week's 7.1 magnitude earthquake. 12 children saved after uninterrupted hours of searching by local and federal authorities along with volunteers. The school, only one of hundreds of buildings destroyed after the powerful tremor. In all, the bodies of at least 225 people found thus far, but rescue efforts continue. Volunteers and bystanders have been assisting. Dogs, cameras and heat-seeking equipment are being used to detect survivors.
A part
of the structure collapsed and blocked the exit route, so we had to be evacuated by crawling over another wall that connected the building to the school.
And thousands of volunteers joined professional medical staff to bring help to those injured in the earthquake. They've been collecting medical supplies and water for people who lost their homes.
We are setting up medical and sanitary brigades to cover all the points where buildings collapse. We're also going house to house to check on damage and the kind of help people need. We have about 1,500 volunteers working on this.
Across to Puerto Rico, where strong winds and flooding caused by Category 4 Hurricane Maria hit the southeast area. On the island's east coast, strong winds of over 250 kilometers per hour hit the Yabucao area as sea levels also reached 1.3 meters high. The hurricane is potentially one of the strongest in the island's history. And information coming out of Dominica has revealed the level of destruction by Hurricane Maria. Early on Wednesday, Hartley Henry, the advisor to the Prime Minister, called for aid and air support from the international community. Henry said the hurricane killed at least 7 people, but feared that that number might rise. The plea from the Prime Minister was met by CARICOM nations, who came together to organize deliveries of food, water and other forms of aid to the island. After 3 ministers stepped down and an impunity policy for officials was approved by the National Assembly, Guatemalans nationwide have taken to the streets. They're protesting a recent National Assembly decision that makes it easier for elected officials to escape punishment for illegally financing elections, while also reducing prison time for those convicted. The action comes as 3 government ministers stepped down over the ongoing political turmoil. Finance Minister Julio Hector Estrada, Labour Minister Leticia Teleguardia, and Interior Minister Francisco Rivas. Thousands of Catalan protesters demanded a vote of independence on Wednesday after the Central Spain police raided government offices and arrested a dozen high-ranking officials. Citizens will vote in an upcoming and historic independence referendum on October 1st in a ballot that has been deemed illegal and unconstitutional by the Spanish Supreme Court. Several polls indicate that over 70% of Catalans would likely participate in the elections and approve the independence option with 60%.
They have crossed the red line today, and this red line consists of imprisoning politics, imprisoning people, intervening in the business of Catalonia's government, and the people of Catalonia are tired of it and want to be independent. This is why we are defending our state, the Catalan state.
Dozens of countries signed a treaty to ban nuclear weapons at the annual United Nations gathering of world leaders. The treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons will enter into force 90 days after 50 countries have ratified it. However, the United States, Britain, France and others who have nuclear weapons boycotted the event. Costa Rica's President Luis Guillermo Solís had this to say.
We regret the fact that those who still use nuclear weapons as a part of their security deterrent status have decided as of yet not to join this global initiative. Their inaction is not an option. Maintaining the status quo is a very dangerous situation for international security, and it leaves humanity and our planet under the looming shadow of insecurity. Security does not come from weapons.
Governments in Latin America and the Caribbean should promote sustainable forms of agriculture. That was the message from a regional meeting on agroecology, which just wrapped up in Brazil. 5,000 small farmers and researchers took part in the 4-day Congress in the capital, Brasilia. They say that large-scale agribusiness with its chemical fertilizers is destroying the region's natural resources. The answer, they argue, is agroecology.
We have to fight for public policies that see small-scale farming as the way to produce food, because it really does work. But it needs support from well-designed policies, and we need university researchers too, to work together with humility and recognize that many of the best solutions come from the small farmers themselves.
Now we conclude this broadcast with our commemoration of Hispanic Heritage Month in the United States. For the entire month, teleSUR will be looking at important events, people, and movements that advance the rights of Latin American people there in the United States. Back in 1968, student movements rose up around the world, including in the US, where Chicano high school students in Los Angeles protested the conditions of their schools and the quality of their education. Check out our Facebook gallery. It's where you can see this in action and where you can learn a bit more about the movement. And keep in touch with us at teleSUR English via social media, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And of course, you can join us on our website, telesurtv.net/English. For teleSUR English, I'm Regan Veens. Please be safe wherever you are.